Hey guys, I'm back tonight with a review about the Nintendo Switch 2 Killswitch case from dbrand. Now this is going to be an honest review. There's been a lot of news about the new Killswitch 2 case and that it maybe doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So I am going to give you a pure, unfiltered, honest review about this case that I've had for like 2 weeks, but I haven't even had a chance to open yet. So stick with me and we'll find out how good or bad it really is. Alright guys, so like I said, I've had this now for a couple of weeks. I haven't had a chance to open it or really even play with it because, well, I guess you don't really play with your cases, but I haven't had a chance to put it on the Switch yet because I've been really freaking busy. Last week just blew up with business and, you know, it just got nuts, got wild. So, I'm here tonight to show you this new case from dbrand and to show you how to, one, install it, and two, give you an honest review, because a lot of people are saying that that it causes the Joy-Cons to disconnect and the Switch to fall out, and you know, there's been some issues there. So I don't remember where the article was. I think it might have been Kotaku or something like that, where that article came through about the Switch 2 dbrand Killswitch case. But realistically, what I'm going to do tonight is unbox it for you, show you what's in the package. I got the travel pack, like the top tier one that was $99 for the case for the Switch 2. I just invested a little bit because, you know, it's a Switch 2. Why not? You know, if I'm going to have it, I'm going to have it. So let's start out by pulling the Switch down here, and we'll take a look at what I've got. So this is Prism 2.0 is designed to flawlessly install your screen protector. In order to do this, the installation tray must fit your device perfectly. As a result, if you've already installed a Switch 2 skin prior to using Prism, the tray will be slightly too tight. If you find that your skin gets wrinkled during Prism 2.0 installation, don't panic. Send a photo of the skin to robots@dbrand.com and we'll help you out. Signed, a robot. So they're already basically giving you a free skin if you screw up installation and don't follow their instructions. dbrand's really great about things because typically they'll give you a couple of screen protectors, a couple of everything, just because they expect people to not do it right the first time. So the first step that I always take when I put on any dbrand stuff or anything in general, like a screen protector, is to just wipe down the screen really good. You want to be sure that there's no goopy fingerprints like what I typically put on my devices, or dust particles on there at all. And the reason you want to make sure of that is because anything that you put on that's on your Switch 2 screen is going to end up underneath of your screen protector and can result in a bubble or something not sticking properly, and then dbrand's got to answer for that because you were dumb. So and let me tell you, they don't want to. So just be really mindful of what's on your screen, wipe it down really good, like so, and make sure you keep your greasy fingers off the screen. So I've never used this method of applying a screen protector before. I'm kind of excited to see how they do it. I'm also kind of excited that I'm going to have a glass screen protector over my plastic Switch 2 front here. So that being said, let's continue on to the Prism. Have not opened this yet either. Okay, so it says turn off your Switch 2 and the Joy-Con and detach the Joy-Cons. Okay, unbox the cleaning kit and unwrap the included microfiber cloth. Open alcohol wipe and use it to clean your screen. Wipe it dry using the microfiber cloth. Okay. These steps all seem pretty straightforward, so I'm going to try to keep my hands off of this. Don't ruin that. This is the cleaning kit that you get. Pops open like so. Okay, this is your alcohol wipe. So open alcohol wipe and use it to clean your screen. My screen's pretty clean because I just did it, but you know, follow the directions because that's the entire point. I just ripped open 2 of these alcohol wipes, so let's hope I don't need that second one. So I'm just going to lean this forward so I don't have to get, again, fingerprints on the screen. But alcohol wipe on the screen here. That'll get everything off pretty thoroughly. Okay. Wipe it dry using the microfiber cloth, which is this little dude right here. Again, try to keep your greasy fingers off of it. Don't want any grease on that screen. Now, so far, my Switch has remained in the dock, so I haven't really had a situation where the screen could get scratched or hurt or anything like that. There you go. You can see that there's a beautifully clean Switch 2 screen. Nothing on it. All right. So you're going to say, your screen should now be spotless. Attach installer tray to your Switch 2. The orientation does not matter. Okay, so we're going to say, attach like this. Gently hold the tray with one hand. Remove the pull tab with the other. Then immediately swipe along the dotted line. What's the pull tab? Is that this? Okay, I swiped. We'll see how this goes. It doesn't look like it's working super well. I'll swipe again here. I don't think that's going to make a difference. Wait 5 seconds. There's still quite a bit of air bubble in there. And I followed the instructions to a T. I'm going to reposition this so you guys can actually see more of what I'm doing here. But you can see air bubble, air bubble, air bubble, air bubble, air bubble. It looks like air bubble down here. But we're fully attached to the Switch, so I don't see any reason why there would be air bubbles. Okay, wait 5 seconds. Remove the tray by peeling from either side. You will likely notice bubbles. Don't panic. Use the included squeegee to sweep them out. It says by peeling from either side. So I feel a piece of plastic when I go that way. Hang on. I'm going to peel. Okay, so there's the bubbles that were left over. You will likely notice bubbles. I don't know if you guys can see that super well, but there's some pretty large bubbles. There we go. If the light hits it just right, you can see there's like there's 4 big bubbles in here. Okay, so remove the tray by peeling from either side. You will likely notice bubbles. Don't panic. Use the included squeegee to wipe them out. So this is the included squeegee. So we're going to push those bubbles towards that outside edge. See if they disappear. And that was pretty effective, I'd say. Somehow a fleck of dust got on the screen. That's a micro bubble. I'm going to put the kickstand in because I don't want to damage it, but I'm going to push this bubble out over here. And that's not going as I hoped. This bubble is being a pain in the butt, because it keeps wanting to go back to where it's not supposed to be. Go, you just gotta work it towards the edge, and eventually it disappears. And that worked out pretty well. Okay, 2 bubbles down, 2 to go. Work it towards the edge, Bubble gone. Work that towards the edge. Oh, this bubble doesn't want to disappear. And it looks like there's some kind of imperfection in the screen protector right here. Something stuck underneath. That's really annoying. And that is why this bubble won't clear, because the stupid little thing that got stuck under there is stuck under there. You know, I find it crazy because this was actually really clear beforehand, and after I put the screen protector down, it magically got unclear. I think this is why dbrand sends you two, because they expect you to screw it up. I'm gonna see what I can do about pulling this without having to pull the whole screen protector. I know that sounds like it's not gonna work out in my favor, and you might be right. It might not work out in my favor. I gotta be able to try that, right? Okay, I got the imperfection out from under there. So now I'm going to try pushing this bubble one more time, right back to the same spot, and work it out. Alright, good enough, I guess. If you look real close here, you can actually see I've got a couple of bubbles right here, little tiny baby ones, and then it looks like this screen protector is a little scratched in spots from Lord knows what, but I mean, I got it on there, so it's not perfect, but this stuff is, you know, it's, I don't know, it might eventually bother me. If it does, I'll just put the second one on, but for now, I think it's good enough. So, next step, since this is done and I followed the instructions, is let's actually get the case put on this guy. So we're going to go ahead and close that, and what does this say? Unlike virtually all our other modern tech hardware, Switch 2 display is not covered in glass. Yeah, that was just the thing that goes inside the box there. So this is the actual case itself that we're going to talk about, and what's been a little more controversial. So there is an article on Kotaku that was sent to me by a friend that, because he doesn't own a Switch 2 yet, and he told me about what was going on with the Switch 2 dbrand case, because I had ordered it, but I didn't have it in my possession yet. So basically the article kind of covered that this part isn't working the greatest on people's Switch 2s, and I don't know if I believe it because I haven't tried it yet, obviously. So, you know, that's how that works. We'll slip that right there. And then, not sure what the adhesive is for. I don't think we need adhesive for the case. Don't know. Don't know, we'll figure it out. I'm sure there's installation instructions in here, but anyway, let's pull the case itself. I'll show you what I got here, because I got the big package here. So anyway, this is the case itself. This is the travel case, and it comes with, it's like a bungee cord mechanism here that wraps around the back here. So supposedly it's one of the most durable, strong bungee cables ever. It's not just going to rip or break on you here. So you pull that out, and then you've got the lid here for the Switch 2 case. And the reason that I have this before a lot of other folks is because I did pre-order this when I pre-ordered my Switch. And then you'll also see that there are cartridge slots in this for your game. So it looks like you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 games with you anywhere you go. I think 10 games is more than sufficient. So that's the lid. Set that aside. Now this is the part that's been supposedly a little controversial. We've got first off, the case itself right here. And the case itself wraps around the switch like so. You take it and you kind of slide it in there, and then it will slip right into the bottom here, just like that. Just like that, okay? And you can see I already got my greasy fingerprints on it again. Lovely. It looks like this might be adhesive to help keep it in place on the bottom of the Switch 2 case, because it's kind of flimsy there on the bottom. So I think that might be adhesive to hold it in position or something like that. I don't really know. There were some peels inside basically. So that is on, but you can see there's some movement left to right for this case. So it is possible to mount this casing correctly, push it into position here, and you kind of feel a little bit better of a click. And I'm gonna change your viewing angle here because it is obvious to me that it's a little terrible. So I'm sorry about that, but then you can, that actually kind of covers up those bubbles that I got before. But it does overlap the screen a little bit and the screen protector. Not a ton, but just enough. So it still looks like it's a little bit uneven. So there's a little bit of play back and forth with this case. Anyway, the controversial part was not so much the case itself, but rather there's the aspect of the Joy-Cons here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to set this down here just for a minute. And so you've got your left and your right Joy-Con. And now the idea behind this case here is that if you pop your Joy-Con into it, it's supposed to make your Joy-Cons feel way better. So kind of similar to the ROG Ally and well, that's the closest thing I can think of, really, or the Steam Deck, is that your grips are just thicker. And if you compare that to just a regular Joy-Con, look how much thicker that is than a regular Joy-Con. Like, that's a night and day difference there. It's crazy. So here, that's the real difference there. But it makes it feel more solid, more grippy, right? In your hand, it feels great. So I'll put the right one on, I'll put the left one on. All right, there we go. Left and right Joy-Con are in. Let's put them on the case. Let's put them on the Switch and see how they feel. So now this is the part where people were saying that it feels like the Switch just falls out of the, or the Switch just falls out of the Joy-Cons. And like, sure, the Switch could, I suppose, in some ways. But you really have to pull and try to get those Joy-Cons off of there. It doesn't do it otherwise. If you're having issues, it's because you've installed the case incorrectly. dbrand has always been really good at their research and design, and so I didn't really figure that it was a problem. There might be some units that are affected for their case, but mine is different. All right, everybody. I'm inserting this snippet into this video because this is part of a test that one person on Reddit and then a lot of other people complained about with this case. And I think this is the part of it that made news. And I'm going to see, again, if I can recreate this. The situation might be different depending on the Switch 2 unit that was produced. It might be different based on the case unit that was produced. There might be units that are bad, units that are good. I really don't know. So I'm going to try this. But basically what this guy on Reddit said is that he was playing Mario Kart. So he had his dbrand Killswitch case like this. And then he took his Switch 2 and he put it like this and went to go scratch his nose. Right? Now, take a look at that. You can see that my Killswitch case isn't allowing this, even though I'm shaking it, to come off, right? There is a little bit of play. You can see the blue is showing in between there. That's just the weakness of the Joy-Con itself going into the Switch 2, but the Switch 2 Joy-Con is fully adhered. I think that this is kind of one of those things with magnets that's not working well, and I actually think that there might be weaker magnets in some of these switches that's causing this. What I would be curious about is if you actually took your Killswitch case off and did the same thing if your switch would drop. And again, that was just with the blue side, so let's try it with the left side. We're sitting here, blah blah blah, we're playing Mario Kart, and then we want to scratch our nose, right? Okay, this has a lot more in it, as you can tell right there. You can see how much red is showing. That red is that part of your Switch 2 Joy-Con that clicks into the side there. So again, you're seeing that obviously this is going to cause some issues. You're adding a lot of weight to the Switch beyond the heftiness that it already has. So I don't know if this is a fault of dbrand or if this is a fault of Nintendo. But I will say that the magnetic Joy-Cons, they leave a lot to be desired when it comes to your Switch 2. So mine isn't fully dropping. I'm also not swinging my Switch like that. I guess that did it. So again, I think that's the weakness of the magnet, and then the weight that we've added with this case. It does just come right out. I think the magnets are weak in this Switch 2 case. So I think that was good for you guys to see on camera. It does happen. I do honestly think that the weight that's added to this is enough to make that happen. I don't know if it's related to the air gap or whatever that dbrand was claiming. I don't know if that happens when you take the case off. Should we test it? Should we try it without the case and see if it does the same thing? Because honestly, the magnets and the way that they hold on this is kind of a big deal. So let's give it a shot. Let's take the case off. Let's see what happens. We'll pull the release levers on the Joy-Con so we can do it properly. We'll take the case fully off here. And we'll see if it's really the fault of dbrand or if it's the fault of... Now there's some parts I can't take off, like this adhesive piece that I put on here already. But I'm genuinely very curious if this is going to work or if it's going to do the same thing that it did with the case on. Does the case add that much weight to the Switch that it makes that much of a difference? I guess we're gonna find out, right? All right. So again, I'm sitting here holding the Switch, and I go to itch my nose like that. Now there's significantly less flex in it, but there's also significantly less weight on the Switch than there was before. And again, why you would hold your Switch like this, I don't know, but like if I was gonna go itch my nose, my inclination would be to support the Switch like this and then go to scratch my nose after a round of Mario Kart. Again, not hating on the guy. He found an error, which I think is incredible. Let's do it with the blue Joy-Con. Again, go to scratch your nose, and there you go. I don't think it has to do with the fact that there's anything necessarily wrong with the manufacturing of it all. It's hard to know, guys. It really is. It's hard to know if it's the fault of dbrand or if it's the fault of Nintendo. I don't really think Nintendo I guess I'll just say I don't think Nintendo really intended for a case of this heft to be used on their system. I don't think they intended for the extra weight to be applied to the magnets, and I think that that's probably what's causing this, because all in all, the case does really well if you don't swing it around by a Joy-Con. I get that the guy wasn't necessarily swinging it around. The other thing you have to make sure of too is that your Joy-Con is fully nested into the notches here, which you can see here that my left one is not installed all the way, or my right Joy-Con isn't installed all the way, so I need to push that in actually a little further. There we go. Now that's in all the way. So then again, let's try it like this. Let's put the Joy-Con back on the controller, or back on the Switch, and let's just try to do it again. Oh yeah, it's doing it all over again. You can see how much of a gap that has right there. You can see that that's pulling out really easily now. And I suspect the counterweight as the problem, and I think that might be what's going on here. I don't know. this was my honest review of the dbrand case, and I'm glad that I went back and looked at what was out there. It's certainly gotten worse as I've tried to do it with the red side, but the blue side seems to be holding just fine. So a little curious what's the deal here. I don't expect a response from dbrand on my video, mostly because I think they've already responded to these allegations or these claims or these issues that have been going on with the case. Doesn't change my mind at all about the case itself. I mean, the case is still going to protect your Switch better than if you didn't have one at all. The other thing too that you got to keep in mind is that your Switch does have to be centered inside the case upon installation. That way you don't have an even bigger air gap than is intended by Nintendo between the Joy-Cons and the actual Switch unit itself. So I'm glad that I tested this because I really wanted to know if it would work out that way, and it seems that it did, that the Switch will fall. But it does take, I guess, a considerable amount of effort to do it. It's not like you gotta sit there and go like this with the Switch to get it done. You saw how I did it. I did it in like a minute or two there. So take that into consideration. Mine seems to fit really well, and I actually really love the look of this and the feel of this. It makes it feel like I don't actually have to wrap my pinkies around the bottom, as I had said in a previous video, because you get so much more grip with this case. It's amazing. Now I do think there's another component of this that I'm missing, because there is more sitting down here in the bottom. So let's take a peek at that. This looks like there are some Switch 2 covers that come with it for your Joy-Cons. So if you want your Joy-Cons to be a little more grippy, the joysticks on the Joy-Cons are actually, you get grip tips. And I think they slide on. I think they slide on fairly easily. Here, we'll just, they're rubber, so obviously. So they just kind of slide over and hug, just kind of as you would expect. There's not really much to it, just like that. And so if you look at my right joystick here compared to my left one over here now, you can actually see the pretty big difference there. So I'll put that joystick on over here. Oops. It's a little hard to do and keep it in the camera angle here, camera angle view. But basically, you got to slip it under a little bit, and then it kind of wraps around the rest of the way on its own. There we go. That actually feels really nice. Feels really nice. Yeah, I love that. That feels so much more like, it actually feels a lot more like my Ally with the gripping on it. And so, the way that this feels without the case is mid, but the way it feels with it is excellent. That's the best way I can describe it. And then it looks like we have a cover for the kickstand, and it looks like that cover is added to the kickstand with adhesive. So we're going to go ahead and pull up the kickstand here. We'll pull this blue covering that's on here off of here. We'll do it this way. That way you guys can see more. And just like so, that adhesive is exposed now. So now we'll take this, we'll line it up here. And realistically, what you want to do is line it up with the bottom here and make sure you're lined up side to side, just like that. And this isn't even perfect, but it's certainly better than. There we go. I've got that lined up, and that fits beautifully on there. So now you can see my whole dbrand case is fully installed. It looks great, and I'm having no issues. Like, I'm flinging this around. I'm not having issues with my Joy-Cons coming out or anything like that. I'm flexing on it. It's not coming out. So whatever the controversy was surrounding that, I do think, there might have been some units that were affected. That's fine. dbrand will do right by you. They always do. They're a great company. I am let me just say this. I don't partner with dbrand for anything, but I've purchased a lot of their products in the past, and I've always been really happy with them. Laptop skins. I've got a skin on my PlayStation 5 right now that's kind of got that, it's like that Venom skin, I think is what it is. And then, you know, a few other things as well, and I've just been really, really happy with everything. So I can't say that I expected really any less from dbrand than the amazing products that they always make. And then you just kind of put this on here, and then boom, and my Switch is fully contained, and it looks great. So that's it for this video, guys. Realistically, if you have a Switch 2 and you're looking for a really good case, I would highly recommend the dbrand Killswitch, because it's excellent. It provides a lot of extra grip that you won't get anywhere else, and it's overall just a really good product. You can trust dbrand because they've been doing this for years. They've got phone cases. If you end up liking your Killswitch case, get one of their phone cases. Their phone cases are bomb too. So yeah, the other aspect of this that I haven't shown you guys really is this docking mechanism that you have, but it's pretty straightforward. So this is the docking mechanism. Basically what happens is, if I flip this over, you can see there's a USB-C port right here, and that USB-C port slides into the existing Switch 2 dock, and then there's another USB-C port right here. That way if you want to dock your Switch with your Killswitch case on it, you can still do so, and it'll look good and still function fine. So you don't have to take the handles off and things like that, or worry about the thickness really of your Switch 2. So yeah, it just sits just like that. See? So that's about the best I can, and no, you don't see because the camera's too high. Stupid. But yeah, it sits just like that. So anyway, that really is everything for this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this content, be sure to subscribe, and that way you'll get an update when the next video rolls out. And the next one promises to be a pretty fun one. I actually intend on comparing some of these handheld consoles and trying to figure out if they're all actually worth it versus just buying this this here backbone. So stay tuned for the next few days, and a new video will be rolling out with details on that. Smash that like button, hit subscribe below, and we'll talk to you next time.